So when it comes to me making rings, I started doing adjustable because I find that when I do events, I don't know the different sizes of the people that I'm going to be out there with, of course. And then people's fingers swell and they go down daily, depending on what you eat and things like that. So I started making adjustable rings to combat that issue. Now I do have some that are not adjustable, but I've been doing these for quite some time and they sell the best when it comes to people coming out to any of the events. So I kind of just free wrap when it comes to the amount of wire needed. So normally about 10 inches of wire. This is a little bit more than 10 inches. It's about 10 inches. About 10 inches will make you about a 7 or 8. So this is an 8. I kind of gauge it by my finger because I wear 7, 8, 7.5, and then like a 5. So these are all the different rings that I've made using this technique. I have more rings. I do like my evil eye and things like that with it. Okay, so first things first, excuse that. I put my bead on my wire. And I work off the spool when it comes to this style ring because I'm going to continuously keep wire wrapping. And if you cut it before the end, it kind of leaves those little pieces and I don't want it to scratch anyone. So I start off with it close up to the body of the bead, pull it away, snip off that little piece. And then kind of tighten it. To be okay. From here, I do the first round, and I go around here, above and below, and wrap that first. Come around to the other side. And I know there's other people on here doing this herringbone technique. So there's other tutorials. And this is how I pretty much do the way that everybody else does it. So with 26 gauge, I have to go around a few more rotations than when I'm using 24 gauge. With 24, the wire is thicker, so I don't have to do as many rotations around to get my desired length on the actual wire. So you'll see what I mean in a moment. So when you use 24, you won't have as many of these rows going around the back coming up. And make sure you go behind the wire and then on top and wrap. Behind the wire, go up and wrap. And keep doing this until you get your desired length. And you want a decent length as far as the outsides of it, because you're going to be bending that wire over, which you'll see in just a moment. So yeah, it's starting to look like a herringbone. So you can see that clearly. Sorry if the lighting is not the greatest. I worked with this. I've actually recorded this 4 times. This is the 4th. Okay. So I wanted to make sure it's out far enough for when I bend this wire, one of the wires over. So you could choose which side you want to bend to the other side, and I'll show you that in just a moment. I'm almost at the length that I want it to be. I want it pretty long because I want to be able to bend it comfortably and not distort the herringbone look too much. Okay, so I think that is pretty much cool with what I'm looking for. Okay, all right, so I'm going to take, since the wire's on this side, I'm gonna take the side that does not have the wire that I'm gonna be weaving with and bend it over. Just so you can see it. I bent it over. Once I bend it over, I choose which side I want it to be woven on. So I'm gonna choose this side because it seems like it forms naturally on that side. And I'm gonna bend that piece right here. Kind of bringing it in. All right, so if you look at the back, it's just right here and it's comfortably tucked in there. And I kind of make that bend. So this is the part that's going to be at the top. Right, from here, just unravel enough for me so I can continue to keep weaving. So from here, I don't know what this weave is called, but I'm going down, up, in between, back over both, and come back in the middle. So, see if I can do it closer to the camera. So I'm gonna go, so I'm coming from this side, I'm going underneath, over the first one, in between, come back over both of them, and then go in between. Go underneath both of them, go in between, go over top both of them, and go in between. Underneath both, in between, over top both, in between. And every now and then I go in and tighten it up. So I'm going to continue this technique all the way down until I get to a length that I want the ring size to be. So I'll be back in just a moment with at least the weaving all the way down. All right, so I'm getting to the end of the weave. And I was smushing it down each and every time. And it's okay if the weave is not tight at first. If you're in the beginning, it's all right. Even my weaves now, I find that it's a little enduring for me. I like to see some of the flaws because I know I did it. If I mess up, a lot of times I'll correct it. But if I know that it will mess with the integrity of the wire, I kind of just leave it. My battery's going low. So I just kind of leave it. So like now, because we are the people weaving the wire, we'll probably see all the flaws. And if I would have pulled them out, it would have made the wire weaker. So I just left them in there. They're not hurting anybody. They're not even, you can't even feel it. I see them just because I see it. And that's just me. And with that being said, it probably will stay my ring. But I find that a lot of times it's part of the character of the ring. So I say that to say we all make mistakes. It's okay, especially in the beginning. Don't beat yourself up if it's not the way you like it. All right, so I try to cut it like a little bit up. I do have extra wire, which I'm always okay with because I make those into jump rings later on. So none of my wire is ever wasted. So I make a space between the two wires and I make like my heart. And I want them a little long, and here's the reason. I like to go back in. Because see, if you look at it, let's see. Can you see it? It's not all the way closed. And then it has like, it's not really round. It's like this oblong shape that I'm not a super fan of. So I go in and I snip it. Which kind of brings it to like that. And it kind of gives me a more rounder look when I go and close it and squeeze it down. Okay, now this allows me to get this wire in those small spots and hide it easier because I want that wire not to scratch me or the person who's gonna wear it. So once I get it to that point, I get it in there, it's inside that circle. I take and get as close as I can inside the circle. Close as I can inside that circle. Hopefully you can see it. I know it's a little dark. And there, I just smash down. That way there's no scratchy bits and stuff like that. So once I get it to this point, take my mandrel. I usually go to like 4 or 5 to start the rounding off, just so that I know it's round. And then I'll move it to the size it actually supposed to be. Uh-oh. This is just to help it round it. And the cool thing about this being adjustable is you can tuck things in. So this can tuck up under there. So you have that. I usually make it where you can tuck it under, and then you can wear it where it's in between the 2 fingers and it won't snag on anything. This one's a little larger than I was expecting, so it's probably like at 8, 9, because my ring finger is at 8. So me tucking that band right here makes it an 8 automatically. It doesn't snag on anything. Even if it does move, it doesn't snag. So it's not snagging. And again, you can always flip it and go this way. And I always say the cool thing about this ring too is if you ever come to a point where your finger swells, you can actually just take your finger, move and bend the wires back out of place and make it for a larger size for your finger. Now, I did it with 18 gauge today, but I normally work with 16 gauge because it's heavier and it's harder to move, especially in this style. But I use 18 gauge every now and then because for smaller fingers, and sometimes people can't take that heavier 16 gauge. So I have a combination of the two, and sometimes the bead hole is not big enough for me to put the bead on. So that's another reason why I do it that way. Well, this is a tutorial on a herringbone adjustable ring. If you have any questions, please let me know. Again, I have different versions of it. If you would like to purchase any of these, you can visit my website. They will be available up there shortly. And if you want to send me a message if you don't see them, I can go ahead and send it to you as well. We can get you an invoice for that. All right, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see what you have made. Send me a message. I'd love to see what you've made. Send me an email showing me your finished product. All right, thank you. Have a good one. Stay tuned for the next tutorial. Bye.